All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining this webinar today. Today we're going to be focusing on using eBay and Amazon within eCC Cloud. And today is April 24th. So a bit of housekeeping before we get started. Today's webinar is going to last for about an hour, and all of the attendees, you guys are dialed in and muted at this time. If you have any questions, you can submit them in the questions area. You'll see in your GoToMeeting dashboard, if you expand your orange arrow, you'll see an area that says questions, and you can put any questions that you have in there. I will be taking questions during the presentation, and also we'll have a question and answer forum where we'll have an open forum where everyone can ask their questions. We'll also have 3 polling questions during the webinar, and so I definitely would encourage class participation for these polls that we take. So today's presenter is myself, Allegra Mitchell, and I am the Customer Success Manager here at Agility. I'd like to start, this is kind of how I like to start all webinars. If this is your first webinar that you are joining us on, welcome. And if you have attended any of our webinars in the past, welcome back. So a little bit about our company in general. We're headquartered here in sunny San Francisco, and we have our development and support centers in Indore, India. Our products serve thousands of small to medium-sized business customers worldwide and have been certified by Intuit since 2007. And we're also partnered with top e-commerce platforms such as Xcart, Magento, and BigCommerce, to name a few. And we also have hundreds of web designers and developers and QuickBooks Pro advisors promoting all of our products. And our products are eCC Desktop, eCC Cloud, and ShipLark. Today's webinar is going to primarily focus on the functionalities of eCC Cloud. So our agenda today, really want to talk about using Amazon and eBay in eCC Cloud, from connecting, then after you connect, navigating within eCC Cloud, just showing you where everything is, configuring the store settings. The store settings is a very important part to the Amazon and eBay integration. So I definitely want to show you what information that has in there, because it can really clear up a lot of things in terms of downloading orders, and also downloading expenses for for eBay, and downloading settlement reports for Amazon. And then I'm going to talk about managing products and the type of product management and limitations that are in eCC Cloud right now. And then part 2, I'm going to really focus on settlement reports, expenses and fees in Amazon, and expenses within eBay. So I will talk about how to prepare your QuickBooks Online company file for the setup of the expenses and the fees reports, how to download those fees, how to set those up within eCC Cloud, and then also how to post those in QuickBooks Online, and I'll show you how to retrieve those records within the QuickBooks Online interface. And then we'll go directly into a question and answer forum. It's really essential that you understand how eCC Cloud connects to both Amazon and eBay. So I will start with talking about how Amazon is connected. Amazon.com is a marketplace, as you know, and eCC Cloud connects extremely easily to the Amazon marketplace. So first of all, when you add your store, eCC Cloud wants to get the credentials. And the credentials that are utilized by eCC Cloud are the Amazon Web Services credentials. If you don't have those details handy, there is a guide, a walkthrough guide within eCC Cloud that will show you how to get those details, and also links within our help documentation that take you directly to that area within your Amazon account to access those details. And those details are the Merchant ID, Amazon Web Services Access Key ID, and the secret key. All that information is given to you by Amazon Web Services, and it's very secure by Amazon Web Services. So they don't email this out. It's really kind of those, like, Amazon keeps this as secure as you would keep your, your debit card in your wallet. You're not going to just give it out to anybody, and you're certainly not going to give out your numbers to anybody. So that's really kind of how they treat the Amazon Web Services information. And I just want to direct your attention to Amazon itself. So Amazon kind of has 2 components. You have the merchant fulfillment component, and also you have the Amazon FBA, or Fulfillment by Amazon component. So eCC Cloud is able to download both of those types of orders within eCC Cloud. And so if you have FBA fulfilled orders, you can just click on the Download Amazon FBA Orders area in the connection process. Now, if you also have a website, let's say, that is powered by Amazon, and you access the back-end orders through Amazon, but it's really kind of your website, that would constitute under the sales channel as a non-Amazon. So eCC Cloud is able to download both interfaces, either an Amazon Seller Central orders or a kind of hosted, your store branded, but powered by Amazon, non-Amazon store or a sales channel. So just want to let you know what those areas are. And the reason why I only have one of the sales channels checked is because eCC Cloud needs to have at least one of them. So either it's an Amazon or it's a non-Amazon, or it could possibly be both. But most importantly, downloading FBA orders if you do have FBA orders. And then after you tell eCC Cloud what orders to download, you can of course tell eCC Cloud, well, how far back do you want it to look? So as you can see, we've got the either merchant orders and we have the FBA orders. So if you want to get a specific date, that's also really a really important part of the store settings. So I will show you that. But initially, once you connect, you can kind of calibrate a date. It goes in increments of 15 days, so 15, 30, 45, and 60. So if you want a little bit more, if you have any questions about how orders are downloaded and the frequency, can you target on a particular date, if you do have that question or are wondering that, we will get to that when we go into the store settings within Cloud. So just some things to remember for the Amazon integration. eCC Cloud only connects with the Amazon US. So if you have an Amazon US account, if you're in the United States, it's totally default. But because we do have international clients, I really want to specifically make sure that everyone understands that this is only connecting to Amazon US only. Now, so remember when I talked about how it can download orders? Well, Amazon itself has a restriction of how far back you can go, and it's pretty much 120 days back. We actually, they opened it up an additional 60 days. It used to be 60. Now it's 120. So 120 days back really goes for merchant fulfilled orders, FBA orders themselves, as well as the settlement report. And but if you have orders that are older or reports that are older than 120 days, there's no way to upload them within eCC Cloud. So you're just going to have to find a good point, a good stopping point, 120 days back, and just be okay with that. Anything going forward, everything's going to be just fine. Now, connecting to eBay. eBay is very similar to the Amazon connection with just a few minor modifications. So eBay, what it does and how it connects to eCC Cloud is that it connects and it is authorized for connection directly by eBay itself. So that will require you to sign into your eBay account. Within the ad store process for eBay and eCC Cloud will take care of opening that particular pop-up window so you can log into your eBay account, sign in, and then you can authorize eCC Cloud to connect to your eBay account directly. And then it will automatically generate a token and it's connected. And then, of course, after it's connected, you can tell eCC Cloud again when you want it to start initially downloading those orders. Again, it's 15, 30, 45, 60 days, and you can also specify, kind of a specific date within the store settings, just like in Amazon. So for eBay, I also have some things to remember. So eCC Cloud connects to the eBay US only. So again, this is only about U.S. connections. eCC Cloud does not connect to any international versions of eBay or Amazon at this time. And again, the 120 days back rule also applies to eBay. So merchant fulfilled orders, expenses, expense reports, and also, again, orders or expenses older than 120 days cannot be uploaded into eCC Cloud. So again, find a good stopping point prior to 120 days, and you kind of have to kind of hardline it there, and then anything going forward, again, with Amazon, everything will be fine and smooth. So, and so now that I've talked about how eCC Cloud connects to Amazon and eBay, I actually want to split this into two parts. So part one, we're going to just talk about eCC Cloud. Navigation, I'm going to show you where everything is, talk about that store settings area, and then do a little discussion on product management within eCC Cloud and QuickBooks Online. And then part two, I'm going to go right into the expenses. I'm going to show you how to set up the expenses, kind of prep the environment within QuickBooks Online, how to configure that within the store profiles for both Amazon and eBay, set those up, how to download, and also how to post those into QuickBooks Online and where they go, and how to access that area so you can see where they go. So, all right. So now we come to our first polling question. We're going to get the polling question up for you. And the first polling question really has to deal with kind of what are you using eCC Cloud for? Or how do you plan to use that? So you can see the poll right now on the screen. We'll give it a few moments so you guys can all answer this question. And I would like to see full class participation for this poll. So thank you very much for your participation. Alrighty, everyone, we're going to close the poll now. So thank you so much for your participation. Now, those two questions, the first question was, like, what's your primary use for eCC Cloud? And it looks like 67% of you are just trying to get orders from Amazon or eBay into QuickBooks Online. That's awesome. Now, 33% of you are downloading Amazon or eBay expenses. That's also a large portion of trying to account for, how much Amazon is taking out in fees or how much eBay and PayPal are taking out in fees. So that's actually a really important component to properly accounting for kind of all your orders that are going in and looking at the deposit that you get from Amazon or eBay bi-monthly and kind of looking at, okay, what is the gap? That gap is the expenses and fees, and then utilizing the expenses and fees to explain that gap and account for that gap properly in QuickBooks Online. So thank you very much for your participation in the poll. That gave me a lot of insight into why you're using eCC Cloud. And I also saw none of you are using eCC Cloud for product management. So I would like to talk a little bit about how that can be done within cloud, talk about the limitations in QuickBooks Online and why aren't certain things available within cloud, and kind of talk about these features in depth. So I am going to touch on product management. It may provide some insight, and you may learn to utilize this feature in eCC Cloud as well. Do I have any questions before I go into the first portion of the presentation? All right, great. No questions. All right. This is a quiet class, so I do encourage you to ask questions. You never know. Your question may be someone else's question, and they may be too shy to ask that question. So all questions are great questions. Thank you. All right, part one, eCC Cloud. Just kind of going in eCC Cloud, taking a look at eCC Cloud. So I'm actually going to go into the eCC Cloud product and show you around. Pardon me, I'm going to switch back in here. All right, so you are probably familiar with this area. This is the eCC Cloud login. If you're unsure of where this area is, it's at ecc.widgility.com. It would be very helpful for you to bookmark this page because this is the way that you access eCC Cloud. Right, so I'm logging into my eCC Cloud account. All right, so when I talk about Amazon and eBay, a lot of the settings are relatively the same. So, and I really want to take a generalist point of view when I'm talking about both of these online store integrations because they share a lot of the same settings and a lot of the same logic when you're kind of setting up the store settings or the QB sync settings, and even when you're setting up the expenses and fees and settlement reports downloaded. So all of that logic is really the same. And if there are any kind of glaring exceptions, I will definitely mention those. But so if you're if you really know how to utilize Amazon and you need to add an eBay store, all that knowledge will apply. So you really kind of know how to do both if you know how to use one. So now to show you around. So this is the dashboard. I'm sure if you have other stores, you're very familiar with this area. But there's also a very special area that is very unique to either the Amazon or eBay integration, and that is within the store settings. So within the store settings, and I'm actually in my eBay store, I'll show you that, and I'll move over to the Amazon store to show you the different settings you have with the Amazon store. So I'm going to go into the store settings, and you'll notice that I can actually select a particular start date that I want to download orders. And one of the cool things about eCC Cloud, it doesn't even allow you to choose a date that's more than 120 days back. So this will give you a really good indication. 120 days ago was exactly December 26th. So if you need to kind of create a hard line within your order fulfillment or within your accounting and say, okay, everything has to stop on this particular day, everything going forward is going to be fine, eCC Cloud can give you some insight as to what day that is, so you really kind of don't have to do the math for that. So this is the start date that you can download orders. I can choose the specific day. And now with eBay, since eCC Cloud doesn't have the ability to ship, and I see that 67% of you, your primary focus is getting the orders from your marketplace into QuickBooks Online, I assume you probably have a solution for shipping. So the only thing you want reflected really in the inbox are the orders that are paid and shipped. So this is where you can select exactly what orders are coming into Cloud and exactly what date you want them to start on. So that's why this store settings area is really, really cool. And it's very unique to both the Amazon and eBay integration. So back to eBay. So as you know, eBay can download expenses. These expenses comprise of eBay expenses and, of course, PayPal expenses, because the payment processor within eBay is PayPal. So you can download those by downloading a particular date. Now, one of the cool things about this store settings area, the first time you tell eCC Cloud when you want to download these expense reports, it will look a lot like this calendar area. After eCC Cloud scans your entire eBay account and database, it will actually only let you down, it will actually kind of clump up all the invoices to correspond exactly when you get your bi-monthly disbursement from eBay. So you don't have to worry about going into eBay and finding, oh, when do I get paid from eBay? Okay, let me make sure I download at the right time or the right day to indicate that. eCC Cloud will take care of that for you. So as you can see, my first disbursement was on the 31st of January. My second one was on the 28th, and the third one was on the 31st of March. So this kind of way that eCC Cloud is doing the heavy lifting for you, so you don't have to have any doubts that you're getting the right information. So that's eBay. Once you're done, you can, of course, choose, click OK. So since this area is so unique to eBay, I'm actually going to go to my Amazon store and show you the store settings for Amazon. All right, as you can see, dashboard is exactly the same, and we have our store settings. So let's take a look at the store settings for Amazon. As you can see, they're dramatically different. You have a lot more options because Amazon has a different interface, particularly with the merchant orders and the FBA orders. So again, you can choose the start and the end date when you want to download merchant orders. eCC Cloud will also do the same. It will prevent you from selecting orders that are older that are older than 120 days. Same with the FBA orders. Now with the FBA orders, you've got some order statuses that you can choose from. So it's always been my just kind of best practice that you only want to see things in the inbox that are ready for you to post to QuickBooks Online. And since the bulk of you are concerned and are utilizing cloud to do that, then that's what you really want to see. Since FBA orders are fulfilled by Amazon and shipped by Amazon, then Amazon controls whether or not that order is shipped or unshipped. You want to know, and you want to download into eCC Cloud all orders that are naturally shipped. So that's what you can select here. As you can see, I only have shipped, checked, or completed. Those two statuses can be used interchangeably. So it's really good for you to kind of find out in your Amazon store and your Seller Central account, if you have FBA, what status is FBA using to indicate that they have shipped out an order. Whatever that status is, you want to make sure that's the area that's checked here in eCC Cloud. Now for the expenses, the settlement date. Again, if this is the first time you have actually downloaded expenses and fees, you'll see this calendar here. And eCC Cloud will naturally detect your disbursement. So you'll only be seeing settlement reports as kind of a list like what you saw in eBay. So this is really just, it's eCC Cloud is doing that thinking for you. It's doing that heavy lifting for you to give you time and flexibility to just set up the fees, download those orders, and post everything you need to QuickBooks Online. So that's the store settings for Amazon. It's pretty cool. The second thing I want to talk about is product management. So the reason why I say product management and not inventory management is because eCC Cloud has a restriction. It's not a restriction that is within Cloud. It's a restriction that's within QuickBooks Online itself. Since there is no way to manage quantity, you cannot truly manage inventory. But what you can manage are products and how those products are created in the QuickBooks Online company file. And that's also very important to know because it's not really a limitation. It's just an interesting way of thinking about product management. So I'm going to go back into the slides and really kind of build what you can do because we have this restriction by within QuickBooks Online, what you can do to manage products and manage how products are created within the QuickBooks Online company file from Amazon or eBay. So as I mentioned, there's no product module within eCC Cloud. That's not necessarily a bad thing. There are rules to create products that are in your marketplaces but don't exist within your company file in QuickBooks Online. So by utilizing the rules in the QB Sync area, you can create those items. And a really important thing to know about QuickBooks Online, even though it doesn't have the quantity capabilities so you can synchronize, it does count. And so my next slide really kind of builds how that works. And since QuickBooks Online is counting, you can utilize reporting within QuickBooks Online to track the frequency of products sold. And so it will track the number of products that have been posted into QuickBooks Online. So it will count that. And that will at least tell you, okay, QuickBooks Online has counted 7. I know I started with 10. I should have 3 left. So that's really how that can be done. So I do want to touch a little bit about, what is product management in eCC Cloud and QuickBooks Online. Really, when I said inventory management is all about quantity management, but since that is a limitation within QuickBooks Online at this time, what are the things that we can do to at least give you some insight as to how many products that you're selling? So, for example, the online store or marketplace in this case, the marketplace is only job is to count how many are gone. So you put 10 in Amazon or eBay and you sell 3, and Amazon or eBay will give you the number 7. That's what they're designed to do. It's real time and it's managed by the marketplace directly. Now, quantity that's sold in QuickBooks Online, it really only gets there when A, the product is actually created within the QuickBooks Online company file, and B, when that product is created, QuickBooks Online is counting. So That's why I say use the QB Sync to QuickBooks Online as a reflection on what's already happened. It's the inverse. It's showing you everything that QuickBooks Online has counted based on all the orders and the items that are in those orders that have been posted to QuickBooks Online. So it's counting. All it is counting the frequency. And that truly is product management. So using and understanding that will really give you insight into kind of how QuickBooks Online can count and how that can be done. Now, I actually am going to go into the product and show you these rules that can be utilized within eCC Cloud to give you insight as to how to set this up. So what are the rules that you can utilize to create products that exist in your marketplace, and you want those created within QuickBooks Online to begin this structured counting? And you can find that within the QB Sync settings. We're going to live a lot in the QB Sync settings because there's a lot of information in here. There's a lot of stuff to do. So, and this area is really, when I talk about Amazon and eBay, I'm really talking about both areas, especially when I'm talking about orders, how orders are configured within this area, how customers and products and taxes are handled. The unique areas are really within the expenses and fees. All right, so since we're talking about products, we want to go to the products. So I'm going to show you the rules. So the first part of the rule is to establish a matching criteria. And every time I talk about inventory management or product management, I always talk about matching criteria, whether it's with our cloud product or with our desktop product. Matching criteria at its core functionality is really about where is eCC Cloud looking at the data. And wherever it's looking at the data, does that data match? So for example, the SKU in my marketplace doesn't match the QuickBooks item name and number. If so, it's a match. Great. And that is how eCC Cloud determines whether or not a product exists in the QuickBooks Online company file. If it finds that a product does not exist based on this matching criteria, what to do? And this is the rule of starting how QuickBooks Online will count. So the rule is, if you create a new item, QuickBooks Online will begin to count the frequency of that item. That item will be created in QuickBooks Online based on the matching criteria. So the SKU in the marketplace will become the QuickBooks item name and number. A match will be established. eCC Cloud will recognize that that product exists, and QuickBooks Online will count its frequency correctly. So that is why this is a very unique way of working with the functionality in QuickBooks Online at this time. So when QuickBooks Online, when Intuit builds out the quantity feature, you will be able to utilize a product module. We will put that into our product, and you'll be able to synchronize products like you are if you were to connect a BigCommerce or a Magento shopping cart within eCC Cloud. So, do I have any questions about inventory management, product management within Cloud? Okay, great. I am taking questions during the presentation, so don't be shy. All right, so now I'm actually going to go to our second polling question. And our second polling question really has to do with, are you utilizing expenses and fees within eCC Cloud? You know, if you have the Amazon or eBay, how is this done? I've already talked about why it's important and why it's important for your bookkeepers and accountants to have that in there so they can properly account for things. All right, I'm seeing a lot of activity on this poll and very good insight into how you kind of regard this piece of functionality within eCC Cloud. So I'll give it a few more seconds. All right, we're going to close the poll now. Thank you so much for that poll. So I see 64% of you are not using expenses and fees for Amazon or eBay. But 36 of you are using them, but you're having some trouble. So for the 64% of you, I'm going to show you how you can utilize this within eCC Cloud so you can begin to use this feature. Because if this is something your bookkeeper is asking you, or if you're trying to account for this at the end of the year, you need to know how to utilize this so you can account for things properly. And to the 36% of you that are having trouble, hopefully I can clear up a lot of things and really show you how this is done properly. Okay, so now I'm going to go to part 2. Part 2 is a settlement report and expenses and fees. I'm going to talk about what to prepare within the QuickBooks Online Company file. So I'm actually going to go into my QuickBooks Online Company file account and show you how to set up information that you need to set up expenses and fees within eCC Cloud. So I'm going to go through the QB Sync settings to show you how to set up expenses and fees. And after they're downloaded, or just kind of setting up how to download, I talked about that already before within the store settings. And then we're just going to post some expenses and fees to QuickBooks, and then I'm going to show you where they go. I'm going to go directly into my QuickBooks Online Company file. And this is really important just to know exactly what you need to have prepped to have QuickBooks Online properly take in the expenses and fees. Now for that, we're going to have to do some work in our chart of accounts. Amazon has specific things it needs to have created within QuickBooks Online, and eBay also has very specific accounts and things that it needs. So I'm going to first go over the Amazon. Actually, I'll talk about them both at the same time because it's really applicable to both. So for both, for either marketplace, you're going to need a vendor. So you go to your vendors area, you set up a new vendor. As you can see, I've got an eBay vendor and an Amazon vendor. That's all you need to do. You don't have to do anything special. Just create the vendor. All right. The next thing, now I'm going to go to Amazon specific stuff. So we've created the Amazon vendor. Now what are the additional things you create? All right. For that, I actually have to go into the chart of accounts. And you can hit the little widget here in QuickBooks Online, go into the chart of accounts, and begin to create these accounts. So the first account you're going to need for Amazon is a COGS account. I've actually created all these accounts beforehand, so I'm just going to search Amazon and show you all the stuff I have. All right, so I've created a COGS account, so a cost of goods sold account. And these are the accounts that are needed to account for these expenses. I, of course, need a sales account, and that is in a bank account. I also have a product income account, and I also have an income account that's just dedicated to Amazon fees, Amazon return fees, and Amazon FBA return fees exclusively. And I also have an expense account called Amazon Expenses. Now for eBay, there are also some accounts that need to be created. So I have also created these accounts beforehand, so I'm going to show you here now by searching eBay. Now for eBay, of course, you know, we have our vendor called eBay. And so what is needed for eBay setup of the expenses, you need an expense account, which I call eBay Expenses, and a bank account, which I called eBay Income. So these are the things that need to be prepped within QuickBooks Online to get QuickBooks Online ready to take in these expenses from eBay and expenses and fees from the settlement report in Amazon. So now that I have all that set up within QuickBooks Online, let's go back into eCC Cloud and let's talk about the eBay store. So I'm going to go to eBay, and I want to specifically show you how these accounts and where they apply to within eCC Cloud. So I'm going to start in the eBay store. So as you know, within the store settings, if you want to download those expenses, you go to the store settings and you download the specific date or the invoice start date. That's run-of-the-mill. You already know how to do that. Now, where do I go to actually set up how expenses and fees are posted into QuickBooks Online? And to do that, we go to the QB Sync settings. Within the QB Sync settings controls how all data is put into QuickBooks Online from eCC Cloud. And we can go right to the expenses and fees area. All right, so do you record expenses and fees in QuickBooks? Yes, because that's what we're doing. All right, so the first part is our bill details. And this is where our vendor applies. So Expenses are created in QuickBooks Online as paid bills. If you want the bill to be unpaid, you can do that as well. As you can see, payment details disappears. So this is really something that you can talk over with your bookkeeper, or if you don't have a bookkeeper, you can make that call on your own. Do you want an unpaid bill that needs to be reconciled later, or do you want to have it just paid? Because it's really a reflection of something you've already paid, because that comes out of your total, the expenses comes out of your total amount of all of your orders purchased or within a deposit period. So technically, you've already kind of paid for those, because you don't have to pay for these fees out of pocket. So I'm going to mark these bills for these expenses as paid. Here's my vendor that I've created. And now for the bill date, you can, if you have a process where you download these expense reports and you post them to QuickBooks on the day that you receive your disbursement, you can have it on the current date. You can have it, if not, you can match it to the invoice date. It's really up to you. It's whatever is best for your particular business. The reason why we give a lot of these options is because eCC Cloud can be as flexible as you need it to be. All right, now that we're done with accounting for how bills are connected to, are posted into QuickBooks Online, let's go to the expenses. So for the expenses themselves, these expenses would be eBay expenses like a listing fee, but also encompass PayPal expenses. And so in order for those expenses to be calculated in QuickBooks and accounted in QuickBooks correctly, you need to have the expense account. So this is where our expense account comes in. And for class is actually an optional field. It's not needed. If you have QuickBooks Online Plus, then you do have access to assigning a class tag, but it's not something that's essential, because I will show you how you can retrieve these expenses and fees without the utilization of a class tag. It's really up to you if you want to use the class tag. And also, within these expense details, the description is the item number and the fee type. That's really important to know when you're looking at the expense report. What are you being charged for, and for what item? So the next area are the bill payment details. Since all of these expenses are going to be paid bills, I'm going to need a bank account. So this is where our bank account that we created in QuickBooks Online comes into play. And so here is our income account. So this is going to be a bank account, and it's going into the income account that we created. And of course, the payment date. You can choose the current date. You can choose the invoice date. You do want to have your payment date match, though. So your bill detail date should match your payment date for that bill. You don't want to have it be different dates. It's going to be really hard for you to reconcile that easily if you have different dates. So bill detail date should always match bill payment detail date. So that may be something that if you're currently using expenses and fees and you're finding that you're having issues reconciling, you may want to check this area to make sure those dates are the same. So after that, really, that's it. You've set up how you want expenses and fees calculated or accounted within QuickBooks Online. That's really it. And both Amazon and eBay have this area called expenses. So before I go to the expenses area, and the expenses area is really general. So I'm actually going to shift to my Amazon store, and when I go into the expenses area in Amazon, this is the exact same area in eBay. So I'm going to talk about expenses in a very generalist form and show you the eBay, and show you the Amazon, because I actually have a lot more invoices than Amazon. So I can really show this real time to you, and you get a really kind of a more richer experience. So I'm going to go to Amazon, and I'm going to show you how to specifically set up the expense reports and the expenses and fees contained within those expenses reports within QuickBooks Online. So as you know, the store settings will govern how the settlement reports are downloaded and what frequency. And so this is that area right here. As soon as you decide a date, eCC Cloud will begin to download those expenses. and they will be held in the expenses area, just like for eBay. So again, how do we go about setting up how this settlement report manifests itself in QuickBooks Online? We go to the QuickBooks Sync settings. Totally easy. So again, we go to the expenses area. So for Amazon, we've got a little bit of extra stuff. The reason why we have extra stuff is because you've got FBA to account for. You've got refunds to account for, refund reimbursables to account for. So all of the fees that you incur or the credits that you get back from Amazon, either FBA or merchant, those have to be accounted for. So again, here's our vendor. Here is the bill date. Again, the same rules apply. You want your bill date to apply to your payment details date. So you always want that to match. The next area is the expense details. So here's our COGS account that we created. Again, class tag is the same. You're going to need QuickBooks Online Plus to utilize the class tags, but it's not something that's totally essential. The next area is the refund reimbursal. So here is that additional income account that I created for Amazon/FBA return fees. And then, of course, the description will be the amount description. And then because all of these, because the settlement report is going into QuickBooks Online as a paid bill, of course I need bill payment details. So here's my income account for all of these bills that are coming in as paid. Really, that's it. It's super easy, and if you've had any experience with our QuickBooks with our eCC desktop area, and you are now using eCC Cloud for Amazon, you will find that this area is so easy that you're like, oh my gosh, I thought it was more than this. No, it's not. Once you set it up just like this, you're good to go. So here we are. All right, I'm in my Amazon store, again talking in very general terms. So now I'm actually going to go to the expenses area, and this is where the real work is done. So the expenses area. All right. Now we know that eCC Cloud, we chose when we wanted to start downloading those invoices or excuse me, the settlement report. And remember I said that eCC Cloud will automatically detect your disbursement. So it's only going to give you, here are all my settlement reports it's downloaded. And the cool thing about these settlement reports, I can go to a report, I can see the date of the report, and within the item fees, I can see all of the descriptions and all of the information about what's contained in this report. I have some FBA weight-based fees, I've got some commission in here, and also the other transactions. I've got some inbound transport charges. These are specific FBA charges. So all of these are contained within this settlement report from January 23rd. And since I have already set up how I want to post this into QuickBooks Online, all I got to do is hit QB Sync, make sure the settlement report that I want and the particular date that I want to have it put into QuickBooks Online is selected. I hit QB Sync, and really, that's the heavy lifting. So as soon as eCC Cloud posts these, here we are, settlement report posted successfully to QuickBooks Online. That's it. eCC Cloud gives you a record of all the settlement reports that have been posted. You can choose which one you want to take a look at. But the real beauty of this is actually going into QuickBooks Online. So now that you've put these posted settlement reports in QuickBooks Online, and this is the same for eBay, well, where do you go find them? So let's go locate these. You locate all expenses and fees. Since they're contained as paid bills, you go in the transaction area and you go in your expenses. So here are our expenses. Here are our expenses for Amazon. And this is the bill that I just sent to QuickBooks Online for my Amazon fees. And this, if you have eBay, since you've set up that vendor, you'll see the payee is always to the vendor. That is the purpose of why we set up either Amazon or eBay as a vendor, because it lets you know for what payee, quote-unquote vendor, these expenses and fees. So who's paying the bill? Who's the bill paid by? Who's issuing this bill that's paid? The payee. So if you want to see the details in that bill, and just want to let you know the order number actually corresponds with the settlement report number. So you can at least see, okay, I've got all these, I can look at this area where it's in QuickBooks Online. I see, okay, the last two are 5-1. Let's look at 5-1. Here it is. All right. So that's kind of where you're looking. Here's the 5-1 we're looking at here. Great. So it kind of gives you a way of looking at back and forth. So the one I just posted was 601. So as you can see, 601 is right here. Great, I posted it. Now if you want to take a look at this bill, you just double click on the bill and it shows all the details. Here's the bill. It's really nothing to it. It gives you the description of every single thing, every single expense or fee that Amazon is taking out, where that expense and fee is coming from. So you know exactly how to account for what is the deficit between how all of your, so the amount of orders that are coming in, that is kind of your gross, and then Amazon or eBay gives you the net. Well, what is the discrepancy between the gross and the net? That is explained in the expenses and fees, and this is how you explain them and account for them properly. So, and I'm speaking this in very generalist terms. This is the same for eBay. eBay works in the same exact way, that same speed and smoothness that you have. So now that I've shown you this particular feature, we're actually going to go to our polling question number 3. So now that you've seen this, you've seen how to utilize this feature, how are you going to use it? I think it's great. You know, I think it's going to be a really great way for you to utilize this. So that's why our polling question. Do you feel that this is great for your business? Is this going to give you some insight? Wonderful. I'm seeing a lot of good participation. We're going to close the poll now. All right, I'm seeing that half of you think that this is going to be great. Wonderful. I'm glad this is going to help your business, and this is the whole purpose of this. I see that 40% of you are also saying yes, but you're going to need some more information. That's fine too. This is a really great start to get you understanding how to utilize this feature. And 10% of you said no. That's okay too. You know, if you don't really need expenses and fees, if that's not a integral part of your business, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Oh, and I do see I have a question. Okay, so we do not have a product tab here, so where can we look for our products? This is really what I was talking about in the product management. There is no way to actually view your products within eCC Cloud at this time. That is currently a feature that's built right now, and once we release this feature, it will be available to all of you. So we do know that that's a very important thing, but you know, if you're going to look, you might as well be able to touch something and do something. And so why just give you the ability to look, but you really can't act on it? So we really want to make sure that when we put this product module in eCC Cloud, you can synchronize your products. You can map your products to products that already exist in QuickBooks Online. You can actually do something with it. And that is the functionality that we are building currently. So it's on the roadmap. Stay tuned, but we really want to make sure this feature is a true value add. And for that, we're waiting for particular information such as that quantity within to be added to QuickBooks Online. So thank you very much for that question. Which brings me to the Customer Success Squad. Who's going to help you get all this ready? Who's going to train you so you can really know how to set up these expenses and fees within QuickBooks Online? We've got our Customer Success Squad that's here to help you. So if you purchase implementation services for eCC Cloud and you are using Amazon or eBay and you need to know how to set it up just to get it done, we have that for you. And if you also have any questions, you can about your, if you purchase a session and you want to readjust it, or you just want to get a confirmation, or just have some questions before your session, you can always send the questions to our Customer Success Squad at success@logility.com. The second area are educational resources. So for those of you who said you would like to use this feature of expenses and fees with eCC Cloud and Amazon and eBay, but you need more information, this is what our help desk is here for. Our help desk holds all of the product documentation for this feature and walks you through this area and setting up this step by step. So if you go into the eCC Cloud area within our help desk, within the knowledge base, you'll go to the area called Processing Orders in eCC Cloud, because this is a part of order processing. And you'll see the areas at the bottom: posting Amazon expenses and fees to QuickBooks Online, posting eBay expenses and fees to QuickBooks Online. If you click on one of those, it gives you a step-by-step walkthrough. So you can utilize this webinar and you can utilize this document to walk you through this process step by step. For your consumption. You can always visit this area later. You also have, if you have any questions for our community or for our users, you can ask your questions there. We have areas specifically for eCC Cloud and things like that. We also have release notes and news and updates. We also have a WebGility blog. So everyone here at WebGility has this area of specialization, and we have knowledge that we like to give to our users. And we like to give that to our users through webinars such as this, and also through our writing within blogs. So stay tuned to our blogs. You'll see informational articles coming up in the next month or so about particular aspects within e-commerce and order fulfillment. The next area I want to bring you to is the support team. Our number is right there, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if you have any questions for support or need to submit a support ticket, email support@webgility.com. Now the next area I want to talk about is our webinar schedule. So this has been our eCC Cloud month, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I do see some familiar faces, so definitely welcome back. It's great to see you again. So we've had 3 prior webinars. They're all recorded. You can again find them in the eCC Cloud knowledge base under product webinars. And we talked about getting started. We looked at the QB-Sync widget. We talked about product management last week. So if you have any questions related specifically to product management, the webinar last week was really awesome, and that really goes in depth into utilizing the reporting to give you insight as to how to manage products within QuickBooks Online. And today, of course, is Amazon and eBay integration. We're definitely going to get this recorded. All of our webinars are recorded, as you can see, and once it's recorded, you'll be given the link today so you can watch it at your leisure. And also, next month, I do want to talk about webinars for next month. Next month, we're really going to be talking about and focusing on the eCC Desktop product, but eCC Desktop and beyond. Really, what are the tools that can be utilized when you're using eCC Desktop? So from QuickBooks hosting to what happens in QuickBooks itself. Why do we say we automate accounting? Why do we say we have QuickBooks integration? What's going on in QuickBooks after eCC puts the information in there? So this is really going to be a good webinar series about eCC Desktop and the various tools. So we're going to have some visiting companies. We will have a visiting QuickBooks Pro advisor to talk about what's going on in QuickBooks. So I really think this next month, since there are 5 Thursdays in May, in case you didn't know, it's really going to be about tools and looking beyond eCC. What are the tools that you can use within eCC to help you in your business? One of the first webinars, we're really going to be talking about fulfillment house shipping in eCC Desktop. Where does it fit within your plan of utilizing a fulfillment house to fulfill your orders? So where does eCC plug into these complex processes that you have in your business? So that's what next month is going to be, eCC and beyond. And also, after this webinar, you'll be given a survey. Please take the survey to let me know how I did, and also if you have any ideas of what we should do in the future for webinars. And I know there's a lot of paid users here in our webinar today. Thank you so much for joining. Our CEO sent out a survey. If you haven't filled that out, we would love to see your opinion and your participation with that. If you don't have the email anymore, don't worry. We're going to resend it out tomorrow. So we would, again, love to hear your feedback. And I just want to mention here at WebGility, we are very engaged as to what our customers are saying. And we can only increase that engagement if you guys tell us what's going on? How are you using the product? And if you're having an issue in the product, how we can improve a particular feature so it can be better. And we look at all of this feedback, and it always guides how we create our product and how we enhance the features that we already have within our product. So I do, again, want to thank you for your participation in all of the surveys or any of the surveys that you get. And I do want to say thank you so much for joining this webinar today. It's been a pleasure presenting with you. And I know that Amazon and eBay are huge marketplaces, and you may have your own online shopping cart or your own online store, and you want to branch off into eBay and Amazon. You can do that, and you can do that within eCC Cloud. And all of the information that you need or that you're getting for your current integration within your shopping cart, you can have that same fluidity within eCC Cloud. So again, thank you for your participation. You can always watch this webinar at your leisure, and I will end as I end all webinars. Have a great day.